Good morning and welcome to a very brief ceremony that we're going to have in remembrance of the civilians who were killed and injured in the bombings in Swanage 80 years ago today. Swanage is right to be very proud of its heritage, and this is an important part of what's happened in Swanage over the years. And I'm very pleased to welcome Nigel and Gillian, Robin and Dawn, and their families, and people who were actually present when the bombings happened, which probably most of you don't know a lot about, but you are about to find out. So can I hand you over to Nigel, who's going to give us a brief rundown of what happened on that auspicious day and the previous ones. Thank you.
But on this day, 80 years ago, it was a lovely, hot, sunny day, wasn't it?
It was.
And we had, someone was saying, it was a girl, must be a 16-year-old, took us down to the beach to have a paddle. And they had a little piece cleared by the Molam, the old Molam, and there was barbed wire all along here. There were tank traps on the top of the seawall, and there's scaffolding, railings all across the front. We couldn't go on the beach, and they used to clear one piece just by the slipway there, and they were laid on there for 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon. Well, on that day, lovely day, 23rd of August, is a Sunday, 1942. We were down there making our sandcastles, having a paddle, weren't we?
Oh, yes.
And then suddenly caught the orders off the beach, and I can remember as we were leaving, they put the barbed wire back, the paddle was on wheels, and they wheeled it back in again. As we came back up the slipway there into Institute Road, the sirens went off, wailing all over the town. And I was only 5, but I remember it vividly. And as we went down Institute Road, I think I heard machine gun fire, but you couldn't hear much above the wailing of the sirens. They rushed us into Bix, is that right, Robin? Bix, the tobacconist, which is now Tinny Whim, isn't it? And we, in there, I can remember we had a line of soldiers across the front, and all I could see is their heads, and just beyond that, the sky, beautiful blue sky. And then I heard this droning sound. Came over, and I looked over, and 2 planes came over, and they had these crosses on them. I even saw the pilot in a yellowy, sandy coloured flying suit. And the next bit, I don't remember. I think I was knocked out. Do you remember?
I don't remember the bang.
No, the bang, it was, the shock from the bomb. And then the next bit I remember is being carried by one of the soldiers across the square. There were laths everywhere, weren't there? It was plaster, and you could not see the sun for dust. The other thing, do you remember the old bedstead, wasn't there?
There was a bedstead in the room.
Old bedstead right across the square. And then from there they carried us into what's now the Heritage Centre, which was the first aid place, and that's where they used to patch us up, wasn't it? And your bit, okay?
Okay. So I'm afraid it's very similar to Nigel because we experienced the same event. This is my personal story of the event on the 23rd of August. An instant in time, 23rd of August. A second earlier, we would have been still in Institute Road. We would have heard a big bang, but we would not have been involved. A few seconds later, and we would have been in the vicinity of Swanage Dairy and the Ship Hotel. Probably not have survived the bombing that day. Well, that did not happen, and we were in the doorway of Big's tobacconist. My brother and I are the only living survivors of that day. We were quite badly affected by this incident, which is sharply imprinted on our memory. Only I also need to mention the Smith family. Harry Smith was manager of Swanage Dairy. His wife Iris and daughter Jenny had a flat above the shop. Jenny told me that unexpectedly they had a lunch invitation to Harry's mother's house, so they all survived. The They would certainly never have survived if they had been in their flat. Father had been bombed out of his office just a week before when the Westminster Bank in Institute Road was demolished. The main blast of the bomb went into the front of Heyman's the baker and cafe and Masprat's the photographer. The next property was 12A Institute Road, housing Humphreys Kirk and Miller solicitors upstairs and a wool shop at street level, I think. But no structural damage except the windows blowing in. Mr. Humphreys, my father, and his secretary faced Institute Road. Father left his office to shelter in the general office at the rear of the building. On the way, he instinctively ducked and something embedded itself in the wall ahead of him. Arriving in the general office, he was relieved to see Mrs. Chinchin, his secretary, and others had arrived before him. So all was safe in this office. Some minor repairs and the office would be up and running again. Others in the street were not so lucky. Shop fronts required to be rebuilt as well as other repairs. Musprat's was quite badly damaged and would take months to repair. Business moved into vacant shops within days and carried on trading. Payments into Station Road. I remember that. A week later, a lovely day, so Mother Millie decided it would be safe for us to go on the beach on this fateful day. We had an au pair staying, so she escorted us that day. Poor girl, what a responsibility it turned out to be. So to the beach with bucket and spade. The army rolled back the barbed wire near the mole and along Shore Road, and a small section of the beach for the locals to spend the day there. It was bright a sunny day and enjoyed by us all. Alas, too soon the time came up. A soldier shouted, "Your time is up," all off the beach. We had to pack up and get back on the road. Reluctantly we started on our way home, firstly down Institute Road, past the boarded up shops damaged the week before. We had just arrived in the square when the air raid sirens sounded. We quickened our pace, and then a group of soldiers saw us and quickly got us into the door of Bix. Then there was a machine gun fire. We tensioned a little and the soldiers then put their bodies over us. We had our faces to the mirror between the two doors in the shop and they were behind us. I do not remember the explosion, but what I do remember is the great silence afterwards. Just before the explosion, I remember Nigel, my younger brother, took a look over the soldiers to see what was happening. Then boom! Gradually, clearing slowly, the dust-strewn air revealed debris strewn all over the road outside. The odd brick, the bedstead, the mattress. What a mess. One of the soldiers had a deep gash to one cheek needing medical attention. Nigel has his own stories of this event, so he's already told it. One of the soldiers had... We had some light grazes to our head and cheeks, so off to first aid. We were given anti-tetanus jabs. Unfortunately, I developed an allergy to the horse serum used, so had to have a week off school to recover. I then took fright and did not want to go back to school. Mother took me out as far as the water tower in Taunton Road and pointed downhill. "The school is that way, son, now go." No counselling or anything like that. Seemed hard now, but that was war and none could show any weakness. So I did get to school that day, but my schooling was affected and I did not do very well up to and including 11 plus. One of the casualties of war. We have been only a few yards from the exploding brawl, but protected by the party wall between the two shops. Bix building stood, but was fatally damaged and subsequently removed. The site stood vacant until the redevelopment after the war. Swanage dairy, which used to have a golden cow on the portal, advertising it was a dairy was destroyed. Just a few words more. So 17th of August 1942, just before 11 a.m, a German Fokker-Wulf flew over the headland at Old Harry Rocks and headed across towards the centre of town, firing their machine gun at people on the beach. The attack on the town resulted in a direct hit on the Westminster Back in Institute Road, killing the manager and his wife. The photographic studio cafe was also badly damaged. 8 people were killed and 39 wounded in the attack. Bombs were also dropped on Chapel Lane, Church Hill, the Narrows in the High Street, a short distance from the town hall. The bombed houses were demolished and later Swanage Day Centre was built in their place. 23rd of August 1942, which is the one we were involved in. 5 people were killed and 9 wounded in an attack on the centre of town. Commercial buildings around the square, the Ship Hotel, Bix the tobacconist were damaged, and Swanage Dairy was completely destroyed. Thank you.
I'd like us to lay flowers, if possible, on the place here. Now can we have the names of all those who died, civilians?
And as I read out the names, no doubt those of you who are local would have heard these stories many times, and we are grateful for the opportunity to be able to listen to this eyewitness accounts. And as I give out the names, again there will be names that you recognise, and may this be a solemn moment as we remember those folk. So the area covers from the 20th of April 1942 till the 3rd of February 1943. Alex Stephen Bruton and his sister Nora Violet Bruton, also Kathleen Winsome Hawkins, Cyril James Manuel Smith and his wife Lily Ada Smith, also Arthur Williams. Fred Arthur Barwick, Horace Mills, Olwyn Priestley Tate, and also 2 visitors to Swanage who were John Richard Glanville Harris, a medical man from Exeter, and May Williams, a visitor from the north of England. Joseph George Hibbs, Jessie Layla Haynes and her nephew William Herndon, Catherine Julia Jackman and her 15-month-old granddaughter Janet Susan Witt, Elizabeth Susan Bennett, Reuben Churchill, Winifred Daisy Swain and Florence Turner. we will remember them. Amen.